Flip back into this chart versus time so I can see what's going on. Still waiting on that to go into, come into closed loop and to kick out of the emissions reduction. All right, closed loop's on right here. Any minute we should be into optimal stability. Okay, we should be good. Let's go ahead and do the pull. Let me hit the fan on for the dyno. Sounds good there. Let's go ahead and stop the data log. Let me go ahead and get the fan off. Let's disconnect here. Let me save this real quick as watt pull 2. All right. Let me put this into park and shut it down. Key back on again. Let's look at the data. We'll actually look at the graph, see what kind of power we made, look at the data, and then evaluate what changes we need to make. Probably maybe a little bit more math tweak. Definitely going after spark timing, and then the last thing is going to be the VCT schedule. So let's look here at our mainline screen. 580 horsepower, 435 torque. So not bad. We could definitely make more power if we revved it higher. So we're going to look at our duty cycle. I'm sure we're not going to. Let me go just save this real quick, and we'll save this as ESS pull 2. So we have that as reference. All right. And let's dig into our data and take a look. So the first thing is, let's see what the duty cycle went to on the top end here. Injector duty cycle. It's hitting 100%. I was afraid of that. So this is going to be our limitation. We definitely don't want to be at 100% duty cycle. Technically, I'd probably want to rev it a little bit lower. We're okay on the fueling on the top end here. We can see we're staying in. Our fuel trims look pretty good on the very top end. And we're pretty much hitting that target lambda, about 78 lambda. That's what we're commanding in the power enrich. We go back into our file here under fuel, power enrich, watt lambda. We command here at higher RPM 78. So we're staying near that target, which looks great, except that we are just simply out of fuel flow at the higher RPM. Yeah, right about maybe 68, 6900, we're at 100% duty cycle. I'm going to continue to rev it out that high on the dyno, but it is something that long-term you absolutely do not want to keep doing, okay? So we're not going to go after the MAF curve because we look at our overlay here. This is where we take off from and go all the way out. This is really close. We can see our fuel trim and the top end is starting to try to add some back in. That's because we're simply at the limit of where the injector is operating at. So that is what it is. We're not going to be able to do anything with this. I have to put bigger injectors in this. Not a problem. All right, let's look at a couple additional details. Chart versus time. Let's look at what the timing was doing here at high RPM. We do see it was sharing some blending across these other points at high RPM. That's normal because of what the cam timing is doing. We're seeing here about 11, 12 degrees on the intake retard and 14, 15 on the exhaust. We're at 15 degrees of timing, so the borderline showing 12.9. We can see here 2 degrees of adding across all the cylinders. We should be closer to probably 18, 19, maybe 20 degrees, depending again where we're at. The entire time it is adding timing. This is telling me that I can get a little bit more aggressive with my spark advance and add a little bit more. We'll find that we'll have our ceiling or our limit definitely based for MBT, pre-ignition and cylinder pressure. They're going to be our ceiling limit. We probably can't reach higher than about maybe 21, 23 degrees. I don't even want to get that high. I want to be conservative with this, and that power we just made of 580 is pretty solid. So let's sneak in a little bit more timing and just see what that's going to do by itself. So far everything looking great here. Let's peek into our last chart versus time and take a look at what we're showing here. We're seeing that we're hitting the actual map sensor about 150 kPa. The calculated is showing 178, 180, obviously it's a little bit higher. Air load is hitting about 1.57, 1.58, 1.6. What I should probably do is do a quick rescale on the breakpoints in my borderline table because they're only scaled out to 1.5. It's definitely something that we want to.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.